This top 10 fantasy football quarterbacks and tattoo reveal edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Underdog. Get up to a $1,000 deposit match when you sign up at UnderdogFantasy.com. Promo code SGPN.
Hey everybody, Joe Theismann here. You're listening to SGPN. So do this, let it ride.
Welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, stacking the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer?
Dog. Football. Remember, we canceled all other sports. Only football talk from here on out.
Yes.
Deal with it.
We are talking about the National Football League. So strap in and
actually, you know what?
Don't be a bitch.
Sorry, play that one more time.
This is we do have a new sound drop courtesy of Steffi Smalls. Check out the Steffi Smalls show.
Don't be a bitch.
Very fun there. Kramer decided to put on his jacket. He must get.
Just feeling. I wanted to make sure I felt all the way sexy as we pissed off the fantasy football community.
And
I assume that's what we're
I
here
saw
to do.
Jake, our good buddy Jake, the merch god himself, saying, "How many Giants quarterbacks made the list?" Ryan, would you dare put multiple QBs on the top 10 list?
You know what? Jake wasn't saying shit when we were talking right before the show. None of this shit talking.
Now
it's funny. He was very nice before the show. We were talking about some things. We were talking about the NFL team previews. He was showing me something he found on a Stoner Adventure. Very interesting. He was entering the chat so quickly. But no, I would not dare put multiple quarterbacks on a top 10 list. That would be foolish.
From the same team.
But
we will reveal our top 10 fantasy football quarterbacks. I spent the majority of my day arguing with people whether Justin Herbert or Jalen Hurts were better quarterbacks. The two guys were getting. I'm naive, Ryan. I thought winning the Super Bowl MVP, the Hurts slander would die down a little bit.
Did you not remember? You don't want to go after Tuanon. That's not wise.
Herbert.
What do we call the Herbert group?
Herbie the Love Bugs. They're just scrappy, fun little guys. This guy had a stat saying he came back at me saying Jalen Hurts' record when he faces 50% or more pressure rate with 3 drops, he's 0-1. In that same situation, Justin Herbert's 1-3. Checkmate. That was his reasoning for why Herbert was a better quarterback.
I actually read through the thread and he had a couple other like just absolute bangers. He at one point he said he would take the projected performance of Justin Herbert over Jalen Hurts any day. It's like we're in the simulation.
Yeah, he would take he would take Justin Herbert's potential over the Super Bowl wins from Jalen Hurts. Insane. People are mad, but this is arguing season, right? It's late June. We don't have a game on the schedule. The Hall of Fame games 35 days away.
I got it. We call them the free Herberts.
Free Herberts.
Like the Freemasons.
Oh, okay. The free Herberts. All right. I like it. Said Herbie free.
Maybe we can come up with a better name.
So now, Ryan.
Yes.
We will talk about our top 10 quarterbacks, but we have some business to attend to up top. Now, if you recall last year, listener Daniel Enderlin, who's in the chat, he hit us up. He said, "Hey, I would love to do a fantasy football league, run it for the listeners."
Yes.
And okay, can you guys talk about it? Can you put up a prize? Sure, sounds good.
We ran it by legal. They said it was
legal
fine.
Approved it.
Yeah.
And part of it was, hey, this is going to be a tattoo league, and the loser has to get a SGPN tattoo. I go, all right. I mean, what do you need?
Wild.
What do you need from us? I'm on board. And I thought, okay, well, 1, will this league fill up? And then 2, will it actually happen? And
well, there has been a lot of drama over the years of people not leagues falling apart, people not paying,
don't pay their dues,
doxing people over $150.
the gentleman who lost, man of his word. The gambling gods will reward him. But let's bring him on, both the winner of the tattoo league and the loser. But loser, you can also say winner because he has an awesome SGPN tattoo, which we will reveal in just a second. Joining us on the line on the Sports Gambling Podcast, Keaton and Mackenzie. Thank you guys for calling in. Let's start with you, Mackenzie. You're a Steelers fan. You were the winner of the inaugural SGPN Tattoo League. How we feeling?
Well, it feels awesome. The gift card that y'all got me was able to get me so many hoodies. I rock them all the time. It's absolutely great.
Let's go.
Every time you mention one of them, just feeling awesome, I go ahead and get it, like the Under Armour one recently. But yeah, it was awesome. I ended up drafting Burrow and Chase, so they absolutely went nuclear. And also had it was like an IDP league, so there were a whole bunch of really interesting like scoring varieties. It was like point per touch and all kinds of stuff like that. And Keaton unfortunately drafted CMC after you cursed him, Sean.
Oh no!
Okay. I'm gonna stop you right there. Let's talk about that. Before you start any fantasy football league, the main rule is you look at your scoring like platform.
Yes.
I 100% failed to do that. The IDP stats were ridiculous. Like whenever a quarterback is getting outscored by an interior defensive lineman, it's ridiculous.
This feels a little bit like the Manti Te'o situation. Was there a catfish going on?
So Keaton, you now this sounds like something I would do, Keaton. I would sign up for a league. I'm not gonna lose. Yeah, maybe I'll come in 10th or 11th or not. Second to last. And they got some defensive players. I know defense, but not actually read the fine print.
I swore I knew ball, but like, man, when I in the draft process, like it was a long draft because we had 6 IDP spots. So whenever in that time frame we had like, I don't remember how many bench spots we had, but like defensive players were going like in the 8th round. And I was like, what is the deal? This is not even right. Like, this makes no sense. There's no common sense in this. At 8th round, a defensive player. It was my demise, though.
This reminds me of the time that Colby ran a college football draft, but had no idea what he was doing. And
it's like 4 hours long.
4 hours. It was like 12 hours long. I mean, absolutely.
Buddy, I gotta get out of this league.
If that sounds like you walked into a real dicey situation. I mean, defensive players. Not reading the second I saw a defensive player drafted, I would have been like, oh, this is trouble.
Now Kramer, Daniel sent us a photo of the tattoo as well, in case we can't get a good visual of it, but it's, again, you are a man of your word. Was there any, Keaton, was there at any point you thought, I'm not going to live up to it, I'm not going to get an SGPN tattoo? Was there anything to that in your mind ever? Did you ever consider backing out?
No way. There was no way I was backing out of this. I mean, I'm covered in tattoos, so I was like, so what's one more? So I thought, there was no doubt in my mind. Now I did have a moment in this whole process because I got in touch with my tattoo artist and I was like, hey man, like, I know you guys, like, you don't do this normally, but I need you to make a design for me. So my initial idea was just make a design and I was going to reveal it on air. Like, I didn't even want to know the design.
Oh, wow.
So I get in there and he's like, well, I have this idea. And I was like, no, we can't have that. It's a punishment. It has to be embarrassing. It can't be like what I want in a tattoo. He's like, well, we could have him smoking a blunt. I was like, no. We can't have that. So I had to make a design on the fly, and I think it turned out pretty legit. So,
all right, I'm gonna cue a little music, and I don't even know, Keaton. We didn't rehearse this. I don't know what part of your body is this tattoo on.
It is on my left quad, right?
Okay.
Ooh,
Wow.
spicy.
Okay. Quad. All right. I'm gonna cue the music. Try and frame it up as good as you can, Ryan. I slacked you the photo just in case.
I have the picture.
All right. So here we go. Keaton's tattoo reveal for the listener league.
Oh, he's wearing pants.
Okay.
That's
Always a plus.
well. I mean, honestly, I thought I would have not worn pants.
The dramatic.
Oh wow, that's huge. That's awesome.
All right, now Keaton, this is crazy. Now describe what's on there.
So we got an eagle right there
Yes.
on top of a giant,
Yes.
and it says right there, 2024 fantasy loser, SGPN in the banner, extreme
Oh my God.
DGen.
Let's go. Oh my God.
So,
This is.
You know I'm a degenerate.
Look at
That's
this.
awesome.
I mean, this was really cool.
Why
work.
am I catching a?
Yeah,
catching
right.
strays?
Right. The Giants did catch a stray. Now Keaton was.
Well, that was when they were a quarterback away.
Yeah. Now they have the quarterback. This
So,
is.
yeah, we're
Now,
we got
now
the
Keaton,
quarterback.
Keaton, I see you rocking a Chiefs hat. Or was that extra painful to have to get an eagle after we kicked your ass in the Super Bowl?
Indubitably, yes. Yeah.
Indubitably.
Yes,
Wow. Well, Keaton, I got to be honest. The gambling gods will smile upon you for this. Living up, being a man of your word. Also, I'll say this. Anytime you're out at Circa, show Derek that SGPN tattoo. You are getting free drinks. And honestly, anytime you're out there, we got to get you out there because we got to hook you up.
$100 hand of blackjack on me.
Yeah, we will
Let's
certainly hook you up. Do you have any? Where are you from, Keaton?
So I'm from Missouri, so that's like
Okay.
I can't actually even gamble on sports in this state yet legally.
Yeah.
So
Just like us.
Yeah,
we have that issue in California. We can find a way.
Yeah, we there's always a way. You just got to find the way.
Well,
yeah,
now the next question is, I'll ask Mackenzie. Mackenzie, are you running the league back? Are you going to be in? Are you guys doing the league again? Where are we at with the league next year?
Oh, 100% going to run it back.
Well, now I have to. I mean, it's easy to run it back as the winner, but Keaton, are you going to run it back?
Yeah, dude. Because if I lose again, what I'll just do is I'll just mark out the 2024 and I'll say and 2025.
It's like a Stanley Cup.
Just
Yeah.
add on to it.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, this is really cool, guys. We appreciate everything you did for the brand here, and hopefully you guys had fun. And yeah, we will certainly run it back. We'll up the prizes from last year. And shout out to Daniel for putting it together.
It was awesome. Thank you so much.
Great.
And you know what? $100 hand of blackjack and a handshake.
Oh, there you go.
And a handshake.
Come out to Vegas to claim that. Well, it's on the house for you, Mackenzie. Come out, get $100 hand of blackjack from Ryan and a firm handshake. Guys, this was awesome. Really appreciate it. And good luck.
Man.
Well, hit
us up if you want to be in the league this year.
Yeah, of course. Hit up Daniel. I'm sure he's in Discord. Mackenzie, since we have you on here, you were the winner last year. Any hot fantasy quarterback takes for 2025?
I have a lot of money invested in Jalen Hurts through Best Ball, so I really hope he pops off. Same with Bryce Young, and I have a feeling I'm just lighting that money on fire, but we shall see.
Bryce Young's interesting, right?
My head tilts and I say,
I don't know if he's quite top 10, but like your second quarterback in Best Ball, you could certainly make a pretty good case. Keaton, I don't know if we're as interested in your advice, but no. What do you like quarterback wise, Keaton? Does Mahomes have a bounce back year? Where are we at? I
think that's really tough because I just think that the defenses are getting so much better in just our like division even. So that's tough to say. I'm really, really high on Josh Allen again this year. I think Josh Allen's just going to keep balling. One of the biggest regrets last year is I actually listened to Ryan and my quarterback. My quarterback was Kyler Murray, and I will not be doing that again. So
let's see, where did I have him?
And
I had him 5.
Okay,
isn't that far off?
What do you mean?
And shout out to Easy in the chat saying probably the best fantasy football loser tattoo that's been done. TBH actually just a dope tattoo. So yeah, I mean, I think it's badass. Very cool. Obviously Ryan and the Giants caught a bit of a stray there, but awesome work, guys. Again, appreciate you hyping up the brand, spreading the word, and enjoying the league. Appreciate it, guys. Thanks for hopping on. Let it ride.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Yeah,
Take it easy, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Cheers.
of course. Ryan, that was awesome. And that tattoo came out very well. I was worried what kind of tattoo would it be? Would he go through with it? But he did. It looks great. And the gambling gods will smile upon him. Speaking of the gambling gods, head over to mybookie.ag. Use that promo code SGPN. Get ready. Get signed up for 100% match up to $1,000. Terms and conditions apply. Mybookie.ag. Promo code SGPN. You get the faster bet settlement. Easy to deposit, sweet cryptocurrency, and available in a ton of markets. If you're in a state where you're like, I don't think I have access to a sports book, fire it up. MyBookie.ag, promo code SGPN, 100% match up to $1,000. Terms and conditions do apply on the bonus. MyBookie.ag, promo code SGPN. Ryan, we were just talking about Circa. We were just talking fantasy football. What better place to have your fantasy football draft than the beautiful Circa? I mean,
yes, sir.
This thing it's awesome. And you can win a free trip there. 2-night stay for you and 11 of your friends, legacy club welcome party, 5K bar tab at Stadium Swim, open bar packages. Like it really, I mean, they really hook you up if you win this contest. It's a great place regardless. I think it's like the last week, end of the month is when the contest ends, the entry. So sportsgamblingpodcast.com/circa, get in while you can. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/circa. And of course, we're going to be out there contest weekend, the 21st through the 23rd of August. Come say hi, hang out with us. College football week 0. Sign up for the Circa Million, Circa Survivor. And of course, anytime you're staying at the Circa, the D, or the Golden Gate, use our promo code SGP15. Get you 15% off. Go say what's up to Derek. Say SGPN sent you. He'll love to hear that. And I don't tell it. Just tell Derek. Can you get me a beer? Put it on Sean's tab. I'm sure he can figure something out. But again, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/circa. Kramer, that was awesome. And again, shout out to Keaton, Mackenzie for winning the league, Daniel for running it. And by all accounts, it does sound like it's coming back. We will up the prizes certainly from last year. Hook these guys up and just get it going.
If you're gonna wear a tattoo, we got to make sure you're wearing some other gear. You know?
We will certainly.
Maybe one of those nice Under Armour D-Gen hoodies.
Dude, the Under Armour hoodies are the highest of high qualities.
I know. I big fan, huge fan.
All right, Kramer, top 10 fantasy football quarterbacks. Do we start at 1? Do we start at 10?
Always start at 1.
Okay.
My opinion is I think slightly drifted on this, but I feel more and more strongly that what's the count? What's the purpose of a countdown?
Yeah. I mean, normally
I think it's more interesting to count up because then the conversation, you don't worry about hiding your hand and we just talk about the guys we're talking about.
Count up means starting at 1.
Yeah, like counting up you're not worried about revealing your rankings. You're just talking about who you have.
Okay.
I think it creates a more exploratory conversation. Josh Allen, number 1.
Josh Allen, number 1 for Ryan.
I was and if you are in the Patreon, I added some stats for you to look at last 6 years for these quarterbacks, and we'll do this for all the positions. But what was profound when I looked at Josh Allen's years over the past 6 years was how he finished. If you look at overall fantasy points, Josh Allen last 6 years, last year second, before that first,
yeah,
before that second, before that first, then sixth. So it becomes reckless to rank him lower in my mind because he's also showed he's durable. There's no way you can have a reasonable injury concern with him. He didn't have a ridiculous amount of carries last year.
Yeah, I mean, I'll get to.
He's dialed in on and off the field.
Is he? You got married though. That sometimes the guys lose the eye of the tiger when they get married.
What do you mean? That
I'm just telling.
There's less distraction off the field.
Okay.
Right. You're no longer
chasing.
Yeah. You're no longer doing any of the random stuff that might get you in trouble now. So yeah, I think this could be Man, I know I'm heavy on the Bengals this year, and I think I'm going to end up having the Bengals beat the Bills in the conference championship game. But for fantasy purposes, give me Josh Allen #1.
All right, my #1. It's going to be obvious.
Is it
rare breed, untamed Jalen Hurts?
Okay.
I think Jalen Hurts has a. I mean, for a guy who won a Super Bowl MVP, he has a big chip on his shoulder, and I think the team took the attempt to ban the tush push a little bit personally. I would say, I mean, the fact that their owner went on like an hour-long thing, they brought in Jason Kelsey to explain the safety of it, and clearly they were insulted that people were trying to take away this play that they spent time and energy learning how to do better than the rest of the league. And for a team, sometimes you win the Super Bowl and you get complacent. Guys are asking for new deals. You're worried about the celebrity. I haven't gotten a sense of that from this team at all. They feel very locked in. And you throw in the fact that there's been some talk about the Eagles, and I wouldn't say putting Saquon on a pitch count because you can't really. It's not the NBA. You can't really manage the regular season like that. But I would say they're going to be aware of. And they are already aware of how many miles they put on Saquon last year. And that's something that they're going to factor in. I wouldn't be surprised if his carries, maybe even a couple of the rushing touchdowns, are a little bit less than last year. And last year he had 2,000 yards, historic year. It's going to be hard to match that. If Hurts can steal a couple of those rushing touchdowns from Saquon, and I wouldn't be surprised if they have to pass a little bit more in some of these situations. So I think it's setting up for a massive Jalen Hurts year. No surprise, but I got him there #1. My #2 is Josh Allen. I mean, the only I guess nick that you could say, or maybe against him, is that Sean McDermott went on a soapbox about how the tush push wasn't a safe play. So maybe you don't see them running it. They don't want to endanger Josh Allen's life. Oh wait, that was bullshit. I still think he's going to run a decent amount at some point. Maybe he dials it back, but Josh Allen doesn't have that. He was really crazy early on in his career with running. I think he's dialed it back as much as he can, but like when it's important, the game's on the line, he's going to be running. And
yeah, let me bring these numbers up.
I mean, bring up the Josh Allen numbers there. He is consistently awesome. I remember when I went out on a limb, what was it, 2020 or whatever the year he would kind of surprise people for.
It was 2020. Yeah.
Yeah. I had him #1 fantasy quarterback, and people.
A couple things stand out. And again, if you're in the sheets, there's lots of good information, but he's hitting 400 points a year, which that would be excellent. And he's just doing it consistently. But 2, so to your point on the attempts, right? You look at, he had 102 last year. Before that, 111, 126 before that, 122 before that. So if anything, he has dialed down the attempts. He last year was 531 rushing yards. He had 524 the year before that, 776, 763. So he still found the end zone 12 times. So that was the difference. And so you could argue maybe there's some touchdown regression. He certainly was carried by the rushing touchdown, 17 over the last 2 years. But for me, again, it's a floor. He does the same thing every year. He's going to pass for about 30 touchdowns, which, by the way, his passing touchdowns are way down. That's why his rushing touchdowns are up. Like, the grand total of what he does touchdown wise isn't really changing year to year. He's hitting between 40 and 45 touchdowns a year overall.
Yeah.
And so you throw everything else out. It doesn't matter where they're coming from. It doesn't matter if one thing regresses, because he's shown in his career, he can go 36-6 and he can also go 28-12. And so, anyway, to throw additional, or to not to throw shade, but to my one commentary about Hurts, and I guess I'll give out my 2 first. It's not Hurts, it's Lamar.
Okay.
Simply ceiling. I went, as I was again going through the data, and you make great points about why Hurts, who is my 3, could have a higher ceiling this year. And I agree. I think the durability of Barkley is going to be the main topic.
You said that. I'm not.
The
going
durability of Barkley would have been right in the middle of your crosshairs historically.
Historically, yes.
For some reason, you're turning a blind eye to the fact that he had the biggest workload, more than McCaffrey, who you predicted injury the next year, more than a number of running.
Also, McCaffrey's a little fragile.
More than Derek. If you look at their careers, you'll probably find they have similar games missed.
That was when he was at the Giants training staff, Ryan. You got to get the new talking points.
Got it. Whatever you want to throw out there. So I think could Hurts have a tremendous amount of touchdowns? I know.
Yes.
A common theme amongst us in the offseason is trying to find a quarterback who can lead a division or the league in rushing touchdowns, because there's always juicy prices there. I certainly think Jalen has that ceiling there. Now, he himself had a decent workload with 150 carries, and I think that probably stays the same or goes up. I don't know if the passing side of things improve. I couldn't put him over Lamar because I think the ceiling for Lamar is higher. He showed it last year, throwing for 41 touchdowns, throwing for 4,000 yards.
No, I mean, that's crazy.
I don't think that's something that Jalen's ever going to do in the NFL. And so he would need like a 20 touchdown rushing. Again, let's look at total touchdowns. Lamar only had 4 rushing last year, 45 total. What did Jalen Hurts end up with? 18 and 14, 32. Can he improve by 8 touchdowns to get to that?
Well, but then obviously the rushing touchdowns, most leagues are worth 6 compared to 4.
Again, just looking at total.
Yeah.
But that was kind of how my calculus worked out. Now, the other thing I would say, I don't think, and there's other things here with Josh and Lamar. Maybe you can argue with me, Lamar and Jalen Hurts, in terms of durability, that makes me feel much better drafting these guys at ADP than the other guy, maybe the guy that Jake put on the graphic. And so I think, to me, this is, you can, I guess, split hairs with the other guy, but to me, you can't not have these guys in your top 3.
Yeah, Lamar's my 3.
Okay.
And again, I it's one of those things, you put blinders on during the season or you have your priors. I didn't realize 41 passing touchdowns for Lamar, 4172 passing yards, career highs in both, and 500 more passing yards than any other year. Like, the only real argument against it is, can he keep that up? That kind of maybe felt like a bit of an outlier year.
All right. Like, so if you just take dumb raw season averages, knowing that he missed some games in some of there, he's going to average about 3,200. We'll even bump it up a little and say, let's say his average is around 3,400, 3,500.
There was a stat circulating on social media that Lamar Jackson and Christian McCaffrey essentially have the same amount of rushing yards, which is really kind of mind blowing.
Blows your mind. That's where Lamar catches up on everyone else.
Yeah.
It's not the rushing touchdowns. It's the fact that his worst year in the league was 764. He had 915 last year. He has 2 seasons of 1,000 yards rushing.
Well, and it's one of those things. If Lamar could lock in the rushing touchdowns a little bit more, and for whatever reason, like it's something they've discussed. They don't like running him inside the 10. They don't do the tush push or, brotherly shove. Baltimore. I don't know. What would the Baltimore version be at? The crab. Well,
in rugby, there's something called a crab walk to kind of when you turn a scrum sideways, it's called crab walking, and it's something you do to the other team to dominate.
The Baltimore bash, the crab walk. If they did that, he could make it. He would end up maybe being the greatest fantasy player of all time. But for whatever reason, he's always light on the rushing touchdowns, which I think is a little limiting. And I don't know if he can do 41 passing touchdowns because they're just so much higher than his career average. I have him slightly dipping below that. But yeah, I mean, you're crazy. And I have a blind spot to Lamar. I think
you do.
Well, because I in my, dog or no dog, because of his shortcomings in the playoffs, I have him as a no dog mentality. And that's obviously a very much a different ranking from fantasy. Now that's why I made sure to put him in the top 3, but that's kind of, I wouldn't say I've been a hater, but I just feel like he's come up short in big spots.
He has in games, but he's been incredibly consistent in fantasy.
Yeah,
one of the things,
it's a different piece.
One of the things I did was color code the fantasy points to give you a reference of how often are they a top, like a consistent performer. How often are they finishing in the top 10, top 12? Leagues are usually 12 teams. Lamar, basically every year he's north of 20, 21 fantasy points per game.
Yeah.
Which based in most years, that's putting you in the top 6 probably. And so to have that kind of floor with the ceiling that he showed last year, number 1 quarterback, almost 26 points per game, seems very easy. All right. So so we have the same top 3 in different order.
Yep.
Do you want to?
So wait, your three is Jalen Hurts.
Yes.
Okay.
And again, I highlighted it, but to me, it's a overall ceiling, and I think the way that if Jalen Hurts shocks me and somehow overcomes Lamar or Josh Allen, it's because he has like 20 rushing touchdowns,
which I don't
something obscene.
Yeah,
I think, and probably enough. He probably needs to hit 20 on in the air. We had 2020 season.
Oh yeah, he could definitely do that.
No, I'm just saying he would have to he would have to push the touchdown numbers.
Yeah, and that's
how he'd get there.
Well, and you look at his 2023 season, 2022 season, he's had more passing touchdowns. He had 23, 22 in those years, and then the rushing touchdowns he had 13 and 15 in those years. So a 2020 season, it would be a little bit, but I think it's certainly doable. So,
all right. So
especially if they need more out of him, this is this tier, the top 3, that was an easy tier for me. After this gets interesting because it's, do you put in an elite pocket passer or do you put some of these second level guys with rushing upside, right? That really have a huge chance. I'm going to go keep it old school and I'll go pocket passer. Give me Joe Burrow, 43 passing touchdowns, 49-18 passing yards, chip on his shoulder, the internet clowning his ability to throw a ball. I mean, that Fanatics Fest thing, Ryan, he was Joe Cool. Now you see him dressing really weird. The Batman car. There's a lot of.
What do you think happened?
I don't know, man.
Something weird's going on here.
Joe Burrow is a guy I liked as a player. I had ultimate respect for him. How many shots he took, especially how many shots he took in that Super Bowl run. Now, ultimately, he came up a little bit short, but I still think he's a very good quarterback. Joe Cool, whatever. And their defense, while I think it could be better, it could still be a little bit of a problem. This is why I understand why people like Chase Brown. I don't think I haven't done the work yet on the running backs, but I don't think he's going to be in my top 10 because I still think it's going to be Joe Burrow throwing a shit ton of passing touchdowns to Jamar Chase and T Higgins. So I have him lighten it up. Again, it depends if you're an old head like us, Ryan, back in my managed league days, 6 passing touchdowns. I'm grading this list is for 4-point passing touchdowns.
Yes.
But obviously if he's 6-point passing touchdowns, you can make a case he's the best, but I don't know. Sometimes my evaluation of them as a quarterback bleeds into the fantasy. So I got to put Joe Burrow number 4. What are you doing it for?
2 of the last 3 years when he played the entire season, he finished 3rd and 4th in both points per game and overall points.
Yeah.
I've been spewing a narrative that I'm in on the Bengals this year. I like everything about what this offense is. They're all aware of a window. They've reinforced the defense, but the 2 key players that they've reinforced aren't on the field.
Shamar
Stewart is they're bickering over, which I think I'm actually on Team Bengals with this one. It sounds like he doesn't like the fact that he loses guaranteed money if he makes more mistakes off the field. And so he's not signing right now, which usually the rookie has to give in that kind of situation. And then I think we see Trey Hendrickson back at the negotiation table. They'll probably work that out. But to your point, the defense doesn't have to be that awful for him to have a similar season. And, you could argue he was pushing it a little bit and, maybe he dials back 3 of those interceptions and they turn into scoring drives. So, you flip another another point per game right there, you're nudging up against Lamar at number 1. So yeah, I mean, I'm back. MVP season loading. I'm with you, Joe Burrow. We're agreeing lockstep.
Kramer.
So this is I also agree. This is a tier for me of. I think there is a tier of pocket passers or like pocket-ish passers.
Yeah.
That do fit between the elite runners and the non-elite runners.
Now, who do you have at number 5? Because I'm debating my
Baker.
5 and 6. Okay, then I'll swap mine to keep it interesting.
Okay.
Because I'll say I have Baker at 6, but it's probably going to be for a lot of the same reasons.
I think I'm also. This is just a
40. I mean, Baker 41 passing touchdowns, and he quietly had a career high or tied his career high in rushing touchdowns. I think the concern about Baker is
his age.
Yeah, his age and losing Liam Cohen, who all the fantasy gurus and film people love their ability to draw plays. I would counter by just saying, man, this offense, you get Mike Evans healthy, Chris Godwin. I think he's maybe, but then you have Jalen McMillan year 2, Abuka as a rookie should be a day 1 impact. He still should have an ability. You get the passing game going to Bucky Irving. And Baker really was confident and kind of you understand why he was picked number 1 overall. Like the version we saw of Baker last year. Granted, I still don't know how they lost to the Commanders in the playoffs, but I think he's a very good quarterback. I got him number 6. You got him 5. What's your case on Baker? What did I miss?
I mean, it's pure volume. The last 2 incredible consistency. He attempted 566 passes in 2023, 570 passes last year. The biggest difference between the 24 and 23 was his completion percentage. It went from 64%, which is on the low end. Well, not for him, but on the low end for an NFL quarterback, up to 71%. I think it's a sign of this offense. His yards per attempt had never in his career had it gone north of 7.3. It was 7.9 last year. I think that's a sign of the offense. I don't think the offense stops being a offense taking shots down the field just because Liam Cohen left. Also, you want to talk about a team that has a chip on their shoulder? That bitch ghosted them.
He really did. That was a whole weird thing. And Baker is one of these guys also, much like Hurts, has had a different OC almost every year, and he seems to figure it out.
Now, I understand the case against Baker,
but also maybe he loses a little with Liam Cohen, but I would say that NFC South, Ryan, look at the defenses they're playing.
It's going to be shootout city.
You got a bunch of dome games. That Saints defense, I'm not optimistic
Saints defense
about.
won't be good at all. Atlanta's defense not good.
Still not good. Panthers defense.
What's interesting is the Panthers defense,
maybe the best of the bunch.
Well, if they're going to be good, they'll be better against the run than the pass.
Yeah. No, he gets the division defense is a good reason why you should be high on Baker Mayfield in the market, right?
Yeah, and I mean the case against him is easy. He had the best year of his career, and we're buying him at a relatively high cost. Now, I will say Baker, I'm probably drafting the least out of the guys that we talked about so far, because he's going basically around Burrow, maybe before Burrow in some drafts, and so
I need some. Well, and again,
for me,
homer alert, but Jalen Hurts is going in like the 5th round now. I don't understand why the
mad disrespect. All right, so who's your
my
5
6?
Then?
I'm moving him up. Brian, if I ask you this trivia question, who had more touchdowns combined passing rushing as a rookie, Bo Nix or Jayden Daniels?
You're putting Jayden Daniels at 5?
No, Ryan.
Whoa.
It was Bo Nix. That's right. Bo Nix had more touchdowns than Jayden Daniels.
That is a crazy nugget.
Yeah, 29 passing touchdowns, 4 rushing touchdowns, and Jayden Daniels had what? 25 passing, and he had 7 rushing. Am I getting that right? Either way,
Jayden Daniels had 6 rushing,
6 rushing, 25 passing.
Yes,
so 31 total touchdowns. And Bo Nix 29 passing touchdowns. We all know he had more passing yards as well.
Pretty wild.
And I'll be honest, we'll reveal where I have Jayden Daniels, and I don't think it's crazy to think that Jayden Daniels, while he did have more rushing yards than Bo Nix, man, you look at that game against the Eagles where his frame just doesn't seem like a guy who can take a ton of shots, can take the beating. We've seen that. Ryan, how long have we been doing the NFL? As long as since
14 years
since 2011. Jesus Christ, feeling old, but nothing changes. These rookie quarterbacks sometimes really pop, especially with their running. You have the Cliff Kingsbury offense. Is there a chance that gets figured out a little bit? Sure. I'll save the rest of my Jayden Daniels talk when we get to him. But the reason why I'm high on Bo Nix is year 2 in the Sean Payton offense. I took a dart throw on Bo Nix to have the most passing yards. Why? Because look at the Sean Payton offense. They draw up easy stuff. And everyone talks about, oh, Jalen Hurts, he's only good because he's got a very good offensive line. Two things. One, good quarterbacks can help out the offensive line. One, by getting rid of the ball in a reasonable amount of time and or scrambling for first downs, keeping drives alive. Bo Nix is very good at deciding when to scramble, keep the chains moving. You bring in I think they've done enough to upgrade the offense. Year 2 with Sean Payton, with a guy that clearly he likes. I don't think it's hard not to be high on this Broncos team. Now, maybe their defense falls off a little bit. I like what they did in free agency, but maybe their defense isn't quite as dominant, but their offensive line is still going to be very good. And that play action with Bo Nix, they just brought in J.K. Dobbins. I think that's whatever little bump. Evan Ingram, I think is a fun little tool there for him. So Bo Nix is going to have
for Bo Nix.
Yeah. In his toolkit, Bo Nix is going to have a damn good fantasy year, and I don't really have that much of Bo Nix. I realized in best ball, so I will be looking at.
All right. So when you start to dive in, that the nugget about him putting the ball in the end zone more times than Jayden Daniels was pretty remarkable. Now, I will be very. What stands out with Bo Nix is that yards per attempt, and I understand Peyton is masterful at scheming, but that he had 100. Does he get is he going to run for another 100 times this season?
Bo Nix?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. You could
that's
see
my
him.
First question. And 2, is he because the case for him is any efficiency improvement, any yards per attempt improvement. Yeah. And we could see a pretty decent step forward.
And he has, I don't know. There was a lot of critique of his arm, but he had some decent deep shots that I think he could even get better on. He could increase the efficiency. The case against him is maybe he's not as aggressive running, but I think he still will be. He has a good sense of his. I don't know a scramble rate off the top of my head, but he seems to know when to scramble and when not to.
I'll say this. He's further down my list, and it's mostly because I was shocked to find out how many attempts he had last year. He had 3 fewer pass attempts than Baker Mayfield. That seems hard to understand. So I that's the number I think comes down. I think his passing numbers,
volume in general.
I don't think they want to be that team.
Okay.
I don't think they want to have that many attempts, and I think that's kind of what scares me.
What is Sean Payton trying to build there? Right. Certainly they're not in New Orleans with Drew Brees and Alvin Kamara,
they have an elite defense. I think it starts there.
Well, but and to your point, if you're playing with the lead, you might not be throwing as much. So that certainly is a good case against it. But I think he's got a good sense of when to run, when to not run. You could make a case for rushing touchdowns. He could get that up a little bit.
No, I definitely
they use him on the goal line sneak. So you might get lucky with a couple. Like if he has 6 rushing touchdowns, I'm not surprised.
Again, it's probably similar to Hurts. Like that's where the step up has to occur if it's going to occur.
So who is your number 6, Ryan?
My number 6, I really put myself into a blender here because I
wish the show just needs some like behind the scenes footage of Ryan at his standing desk, just talking to himself about these lists, about God. The VSiN guy, just murmuring aloud to himself, putting his brain in a pretzel. Oh, well, I can't be high on this team because I've already shit on him. But then if I'm high on that team, I don't like this guy.
You left, but I was really irritating myself. I was doing a combination of trying to hammer out my rankings and I was working on a read, and I was just cursing at both things.
Woo! It's smoking my weed.
Well, I think, like I mentioned, there's a tier here, and I think this is also based on me drafting. I'm gonna be the donkey that puts Patrick Mahomes at number 6.
Oh, okay.
I earlier today I was perhaps ready to take him off my list altogether, and then I said, no. It's silly because I know how I'm drafting, and
yeah, how many you probably have 0% ownership of Patrick Mahomes in best ball.
No, because we've talked about this. He's starting to fall too.
Yeah.
And I think the cadence here, I put him in this order because this has been the order I'm taking him. I probably should have Mahomes 5 and maybe and Baker. You know what? Mahomes 5, Baker 6. Official.
Oh
update.
wow! Breaking news.
Well, because I think this is how I'm taking him. I as you know, this time of year, great time to consume press conferences from coaches.
Yes.
Press conferences from players. There is a certain edge because I was also getting close to not having them win the division, maybe having them lose the division to a different team. Mahomes is there's an edge about him. There's an edge about the offense.
Oh, he cut his hair after the bad loss of the Eagles.
There's an edge about something to prove. And this is now 2 years in a row where he's been very mediocre from a fantasy perspective. He only threw for 3,800 yards last year, which is fucking embarrassing.
Back to back, and I do have him on my top 10, lower down the list. Back to back sub 30 passing touchdown years.
And
does that? I mean, if you have him, I mean, Ryan, what would you put his touchdowns at? If you have him at number 5, he's got to get to what, 35?
I think he still has the same ceiling.
Okay.
I don't think this team is going to have a defense first approach. I do think on some level, am I worried about Travis Kelce?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm kind of surprised because you've been knocking Travis Kelce. I don't think
but he's around. And I saw I saw Travis. I saw the Taylor Kelce performing at tight end university.
Is that good or bad?
That is now positive.
Okay.
He's not touring with her. She's touring with him.
Oh, okay. So you're in.
That's the first time this has happened. And then you sprinkle in the fact that even if you look over the last couple years at a point per game basis, he's not been the floor is still quite high.
Yeah.
And you just have to look back a couple years to see him at his best. And it's not just the touchdowns, it's also the yards per attempt. And so, yeah, perhaps the offense falls on its face one more time. Tyreek Hill not coming back, but they went from being a 8 yards per attempt team to a under 7 last year. And
under 7's low, but I all that being said, I do like Xavier Worthy. The more I think about it, the more I think Rashee Rice. I don't want any part of him. Give me Xavier Worthy.
I picked up in a like completely benign press conference with Andy Reid after one of their OTAs. He talked about how he had to go out and like clearly the offense had become stagnant.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see some new shit.
Well,
Andy Reid was on high school sidelines picking up new plays. Like
Andy Reid, food expert. He knows when something's stale. All right. If you're listening to this episode,
that's kind of messed up.
If you're listening to this episode, and it means you're a diehard football head. And if you're a diehard football head, you should be drafting right now. Get your takes in order. Maybe you think my takes suck. Maybe you think Kramer's take sucks. Yeah. Put your takes to work over at Underdog Fantasy. That's right. Use the promo code SGPN. Get you a deposit match up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Now they have Best Ball Mania, $25 entry fee, 15 million in prizes. And Ryan, we have some sharp listeners. We have some that aren't sharp, but we have some sharp listeners, some guys who really know ball. I see Easy in the chat. I know a lot of our listeners are very sharp in the market. This is the time of year where you can take advantage. If you got to take like, hey, I think Xavier Worthy is the guy. Rashee Rice isn't. That's how you end up winning these Best Ball Mania tournaments. And super fun. These live drafts, we've done a bunch of live drafts. You could draft along with us, but again, 2 million to first, 1 million to second. It's really awesome. And it's just a fun way to get into football and have a little juice, have a little, maybe you need a couple warm-ups. Maybe you are doing a league with your buddies. You get some best ball mania drafts in, and mock drafts are just idiotic because
you're an adult.
Yeah. Put $25. You have a job. You can have $25 and you got a chance to win a couple million. And it's super fun at the end of the year, seeing which of your teams advance. The sweat those first couple weeks when you get some that advance, it's awesome. Underdogfantasy.com, promo code SGPN. And we're also brought to you by Rhythm. Love Rhythm. Again, if you're serious about gambling, your picks, your plays, your systems, it's good to watch the game, to know ball, to listen to our show, listen to get a bunch of info out there, but then also get some data, get some hard numbers. And Rhythm is great at helping you build a model. You just adjust the sliders, and then it'll backtest it and go, hey, this is what this model would have done over X amount of time. Do you want to go this forward? Yeah, sure. This looks like a good one, or this isn't really a winning formula. Try again. So you can kind of dial it in, get the recipe perfect. And this is the time to do it. Obviously NFL, college football, they kill it on FCS totals. If you're looking to get in right now, MLB player props. I know the MLB show has been killing it with the player props over on Rhythm. Best part is 7-day free trial. Try it out. It's the summer. What else you got going on? Tell your wife, your girlfriend, if you're a female DJnette, whoever you're with, tell them sports gambling. I'm in the lab. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Ryan,
real quick, it's a great idea. Like, just say you're going to study group.
Yeah, I like
your
that.
wife's not going to question.
Yeah,
study
say,
group.
hey, I'm me and the guys getting together, do some analytics.
Yeah, we're gonna do some studying.
Some studying.
We got a big test on.
Shout out to the DJ Nets. I feel like the female listeners of this brand, of which there are percentage wise not massive,
the 2%ers.
Maybe I call them skim milk because it's a small percentage, but they're hardcore. They love ball.
Is skim milk hardcore?
Skim milk, I'm just saying, is like 2-3%.
Gotcha. The 2%ers, isn't that
2%ers?
Isn't that the motorcycle? Right, the motorcycle game.
We may have to Google it, right? Hopefully, it's not an Aryan race thing.
I'm just saying in terms of.
No, I get the reference.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it is. It was from like after the war.
All right, because I read.
I feel like the
AI told me 2%ers can refer to a few different things. Most common usage relates to students at Texas A&M who don't fully embrace the school's traditions.
Really? What do you mean? They don't believe in the military position to be in charge of cheering?
Yeah. So I have to dig deep, but yeah. Do your shout out to the DJnets. Kramer, where are you at? You haven't given out your 7th pick for top 10 fantasy football quarterbacks.
We're on 7.
Yep.
Yes, we're on 7. All right. So if you take a look at this guy over the course of his entire career, he probably has averaged finishing 7th in points per game, but he's missed a lot of time. Fortunately, he played the entire season last year. Come on down, Mr. Kyler Murray.
Really?
Oh, why not?
Yeah, your team, Kyler.
This is where I'm drafting him. The fact that he's going as the last of the running quarterbacks, it's crazy to me.
Well, again, it's where is that cutoff?
So you look at last year where he did play every game. He had a decent amount of attempts and 7.1 yards per attempt. If we can stretch that to his career high of 7.9, and we tick that touchdown rate up a little bit because Marvin Harrison's getting open. And all of a sudden we've added 5 touchdowns. We've added 500 yards, and he's still a 100 carry, 600 yard running back who's going to get 4 to 6 touchdowns.
All right, Ryan, my number 8.
Kyler's not in your top 10.
No, maybe he's an honorable mention. We'll see.
Jesus,
that's just I can't like all the quarterbacks, Ryan.
It's fair.
It's fine.
Fair. His average carries though is the part you can lean into with Kyle.
Yeah, I mean,
he gets a lot more carries.
What's his highest fantasy finish past couple years? I feel like he's a guy who has some
in his career. I mean, again, I'll adjust for points per game because he obviously missed some time.
Well, but that's part of the knock on.
And I'm not.
You're projecting 17 full healthy games.
I like that he played well in this system. I think he's a little bit more invigorated. He's put down Call of Duty.
You were the one that coined the gymnast term for Kyler.
He does look like a gymnast.
You've had a wild ride with Kyler. I feel like you were hating on him a bunch. Then he became your sweetheart.
He's going to throw for 4,000 this year. He's going to pass for close to 30 touchdowns. And so whatever he does on the ground is just gravy.
Brian, this is a guy. I think he paid out for me because I think I hit him on a 2 first any or many multi-touchdown game. And just looking back, he had 6 starts last year, 5 rushing touchdowns in 6 starts. And I feel like he's criminally underdrafted. Great situation. And that is Justin Fields in the New York Jets.
I don't know if it's a great situation, but I do agree with you.
I guess great situation for his starting time. I don't think Tyrod Taylor is playing unless Justin Fields gets injured. I think even if it's kind of bad or if he struggles, I think Justin Fields has an incredibly long leash, Ryan.
I think Tyrod might be a better passer than Justin Fields.
Sure.
I don't think it's that far. I think the gap between Justin Fields, I like Justin Fields, but the gap between him and Tyrod, I think is too close to be putting him in the top 10.
Okay, that's fair. But that
was where I came to at the end.
Okay, I get that critique, but I think Aaron Glenn's coming in there. They're going to have a ton of designed runs. And I mean,
he's like Anthony Richardson to me. If that thing hits, it's going to hit in a big way.
Well, but then Anthony, to your point, I agree, but
it's pretty similar to me. I know Justin Fields is more of a dog. He's played a lot more.
And they're bringing over I like that Aaron Glenn is bringing over the passing game coordinator from the Lions. He did a good job with Jared Goff, Tanner Engstrand, young guy, but I think this is a very good year for Justin Field to run the ball. And I think he's going to get some rushing touchdowns. And I think he's going to be good for like 8-9 carries a game. Like that version. Aaron Glenn, the Jets signed him because they saw what he did those first 6 games as a starter for the Steelers. And they said, hey, that's the best we can do. This is something we can work with. The play action with Breece Hall. He has Garrett Wilson. He has some decent targets.
I get it.
Like you can see him having a very good rushing season. So yeah, Justin Fields number 8, and he's very easy to get in these best ball drafts.
So if you look at his best year, he finished 6th overall, 6th per game at 20 points, and in that season he ran 160 times for 1,143 yards and 8 touchdowns. So in today's NFL, if he does that same thing and then also passes for 2,200 yards and 17 touchdowns, which seems fair, like that 20.5 points that he racked up back in 2022 probably would have only been good for 12th or 3rd, maybe even lower last year. And so his ceiling, it's going to have to require touchdowns again. It's like, can he get to 15 rushing touchdowns?
But I think I think he played some pretty clean football. He had a couple fumbles, but 5 interceptions or 5 touchdowns, only 1 interception. Like that Steelers offense that he was running was efficient. It wasn't like high octane, but I think that's what they're going to try and do with the Jets.
I mean, that's the other thing. Like you could argue, we don't know what the offensive system's going to look like. Arthur Smith at least has a track record of running a functional offense in the NFL.
Yeah.
So, I mean, look, I think, the more that I thought about this,
I get your point, but
Justin Fields has the highest, maybe the highest variance, removing injury.
Well, and if Anthony Richardson was healthy and had a more clear path to the starting job, Anthony Richardson would be on my list.
Breaking news:
2 touchdown guys are going to be on my list.
Anthony Richardson is going to be cleared for training camp per Anthony Richardson.
But come on,
I can't get behind Anthony Richardson.
He's not on my list.
You can't. I don't think you can. It's one of those things, right? Fantasy nerds get so mad when you project injury. But then there's no way that they would take Anthony Richardson inside the top 10 of anything. All right. So that's top 7, 8. That's where we're at, right?
Let's see. You are at 8. I just gave out my 8th as
off?
Justin Fields.
All right. I'm probably because I'm not doing this thing right. Yeah. I think, as much as I would like to throw shade, it becomes very difficult at this point to not put Caleb Williams on my list.
Really?
Again, because this is where I'm drafting him. I think the uptick in what Ben Johnson's going to bring is one thing, but when you look at how many rush attempts he had last year, I don't think that necessarily changes. I know he generated some of that himself, but just remember how dysfunctional that offense was.
Yeah.
So you're taking a guy who ran 81 times last year. He also threw it 562 times. And so the volume goes down a little bit, but his putrid 6.3 yards per attempt definitely goes up. I think the touchdowns goes up. That's what a Colston Loveland's going to do to you.
Okay.
And Sean, he didn't find the end zone once on the ground.
That was weird.
That seems impossible. I feel like we were betting the anytime.
But
you saying he's a little soft?
I don't know if he has dog mentality. To me, he does not a guy who's going to lower his shoulder and get into the end zone.
So if you want to talk about a guy, and Bo Nix is right after him, by the way, 9. Okay. If you want to talk about a guy who was extremely efficient last year in Bo Nix and had a great situation around him,
had a nose for the end zone.
It was just the fact that he had Peyton structure, an idea, a plan. Caleb Williams had none of that. The coaches weren't watching film with him. They're like all this random wackiness.
Yeah. I mean,
now they bring in the guy they wanted.
Agreed.
The perfect guy for this. So I have to project that he takes a little bit of a step forward. And when I start looking at the other quarterbacks around, this is the upside I want.
So I think the counter, and I agree with a lot of what you're saying. And maybe I haven't decided where I'm at on the Bears.
Why above Bo Nix? Because I don't know if the Bears defense will be that good. And so unlike the Broncos, where I think the volume will come down and efficiency will remain, with the Bears, I think this could be a little bit like the Lions, where they need the offense to carry the defense. And if Caleb Williams hits, I think he has a tremendous ceiling for that reason.
A lot of that makes sense. And maybe I should have some more Caleb Williams. I guess what scares me off him is a lot of what you were saying was excuses, and they could be good excuses. But
what do you mean excuses?
Excuses as to why Caleb Williams didn't play better, right?
No.
I'm not. It was a disaster.
I'm not using it as I'm using it as just a frame of reference where I think environmental factors were as bad as they could be for one data point and as good as they can be for the other.
But yeah, I mean, like the hey, no one told me how to watch film, that kind of stuff. I think if you're an alpha, if you're rare breed, if you're untamed, if you truly are locked in, I don't know if you have those issues. You force that hand. You make that. You watch the film. You tell the coach, get in here and watch this film with me.
Agreed.
You take control of the situation.
But also,
some of this was like millennial.
But this is also the Bears, who have been incredibly dysfunctional with the quarterbacks for a long time, and they finally got the guy.
Well, and
they got the guy who's going to get their quarterback fixed, or we're wrong and he's going to not be good at all.
I get it. I'm just bringing up the counter.
Yeah,
but I certainly see the optimism.
All right, so that was my 8 and 9.
All right, my number 9 coming in at number 9 is Patrick Mahomes, and we kind of hit on it when you talked about Patrick Mahomes. It feels like it could be like a low 30s passing touchdown. I don't think Jason Kelsey's going to retire, but I think
Travis.
Whatever. I don't think Travis Kelsey is going to retire, but I do think his best days are behind him.
Yeah.
I'm skeptical that Rashee Rice is going to play a full season, both injury and suspension. I do like Xavier Worthy, and I do like Patrick Mahomes. I think Andy Reid is a good play caller. I don't think the defense probably is as good. Maybe Nick Sirianni kind of cracked the code on how to take down Spags' defense, which everyone thinks is comical, but we did fuck up their offense and their defense in the Super Bowl, if you recall. So I think this could be a little bit of a letdown year for the Chiefs, at least compared to 15-2. Maybe they regress down a little bit, but I don't know. The Patrick Mahomes,
I think they're a worse team, but he's better.
Yeah. So it's a weird needle to thread, right? And that's kind of what's interesting about fantasy is because if you've been in a fantasy league, you can be on a bad team, garbage time, whatever.
Yeah, it almost is beneficial.
I don't think they're going to be bad, but I don't think they're going to be 15-2. But that game score wise, like they might be in some higher scoring games.
So first year, so the lowest attempts total of his career or since 2020 in game, like, so I know he missed the game, whatever. Lowest attempt total since 2020, lowest yardage total in his career, lowest per yards per attempt, lowest touchdowns. It seems the highest sack total.
Yeah.
So and lowest rushing attempts total since 2020.
He's also gone out of his way. He rushes in the playoffs. He doesn't really rush in the regular season.
Well,
And
the year before he had 20 more carries, Sean.
I am still pissed at myself for not playing his 2 touchdown play. And what was it, the AFC Championship game where he had 2 rushing touchdowns?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's only once finished outside the top 8 overall in quarterback points.
Yeah. So
as much as you can,
and
throw
I would feel dumb not having Patrick Mahomes on any sort of top 10 quarterbacks. Now, obviously this is fantasy specific and he doesn't run as much in the regular season and he's not pushing 50 passing touchdowns, but maybe he does have that bounce back. And then we go back to teams after they lose the Super Bowl, man. It is tough. Yeah. It is tough. But also
they've gone through the hangover, so maybe they.
But also you do feel dumb doubting the Chiefs and Mahomes too much. So 9, that's where I ended up. Maybe it's too low, but I don't in underdog where he's going. I'm fine taking him because give me Mahomes and Xavier Worthy. Kelsey's very late.
I think
Rashee Rice is the guy I'm staying away from.
I think I allowed my like draft biases to impact my rankings more,
but that's probably good, right?
Well, I mean, I think it's a little bit more realistic.
All right, Ryan, last guy, number 10. What are you doing?
So I have a couple, there's maybe a tier of guys here that are all potential bubble guys, but it did seem a little ridiculous. Actually, you know what? I'm going to make a late swap. I'll move this guy in just for the conversation. Trevor Lawrence. Liam Cohen came to town. You just used Liam Cohen as a reason. You just used Liam Cohen as a reason that maybe Baker would take a step back. Doesn't have all those good plays. They have Travis Hunter joining Brian Thomas Jr. in what looks to be an electric tugboat tootin', Tank Bigsby, electric you got a Strange at tight end, electric offense. Yeah, this is for the graphic. Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Goldilocks. Yeah. I mean,
in over.
The AFC South is wide open. I'm still open. I'm still cementing my opinion on the Jaguars.
I'll let you give out your 10 before I give out my outside looking in.
Okay, my number 10. Give me Drake May.
Nice. All right, I'm glad we didn't.
It's a baby fucking
we didn't
wheel,
collaborate
man.
on this, but it came out perfectly.
I'm putting Drake May in there. My take is on the Patriots. It's nuance, right? I like, I like what they did overall. I think Vrabel is a very good head coach. And according to our buddy Crack Rock, shout out to our insider Crack Rock, who seems plugged in to a couple organizations, in particular the Patriots, saying they saw Josh Allen, they saw Lamar Jackson in the conference, and they realized, hey, we got to run this guy. And you look at some of the years Tannehill had running the ball with the Titans. He only had 54 carries, 420 yards, but it was 7.2 yards per attempt. Drake May is a legit
I
athlete.
can see it. I can see it.
So, and I'm still worried about the Patriots defense and looking at like the games. I'll go back to the fact that there were Drake May was what 1-10 as a starter last year. So this optimism that they set the win total at 8.5, that would be, now he didn't start the entire season, but he started a big chunk of the season, Ryan. If you go from 1 year to the next, winning 9 more games as a starting quarterback, that's a pretty big jump. But I can project some optimism for Drake May in the fantasy world. Now, Drake May, he's going to have some juicy, like lead the division in rushing touchdown odds that I'm going to be looking at. Maybe him and Fields, because we have Josh Allen there. They could be some fun long shots. This is almost all off of the rushing stuff. Certainly Stephon Diggs will help him. I don't know how good the team is going to be. I think the expectations have shot through the roof with Vrabel. I think people go,
so
oh,
high.
hey, Vrabel, he's a good head coach. It'll be like Belichick in old times.
So high.
Maybe they get there, but I would be surprised if it's instantaneous. So I'm kind of in the middle on the Pats as a team. I think the expectations are a little too high. That being said, I think Drake May is very interesting in fantasy because I am on board with the increased rushing production.
Yeah, I was seeing if they had released the leader markets for touchdowns and stuff like that. They have not. Who did you? So what? So Justin Fields was one of the guys who I had right on the edge. We can make him my 11. I do. I mean, I'm in the bullish case. I'll be drafting him in best ball. How fun would it be if he had like 220 carries and they just ran him, Breece Hall, and Braylon Allen, and once in a while through.
I mean, if anyone's going to do it, it would be Aaron Glenn.
Go watch tape of Georgia Tech when they had Stephen Hill. They had a stud receiver on the outside. He would just run deep.
Also, if Justin Fields gets hurt, do the Jets give a shit? No. Are the Jets going to be worried? Are the Jets going to be worried about running Justin Fields too much?
Patriots might be, but you're right.
Drake May, maybe, but they're clearly signaling that they're like, hey, we got to let this kid loose.
Also, in my just missed, I think you have to put Jared Goff around here.
Okay.
I see no what he did last year was a little bit of an outlier. But he still threw for 37 touchdowns. He still threw for 4,700 yards. I'm not drafting him a ton if I'm being completely honest. And then I was a little torn on the idea of this is going to be a little dirty, but Brock Purdy.
So what is your 11 and 12, Ryan? You can't do 13.
No, I know. I'm just talking through some guys.
Okay.
We'll say Justin Fields and Brock Purdy.
Okay. Brock Purdy's interesting. I kind of considered him. You know what? Yeah, I'll put Brock Purdy as my 11.
And I would like to address the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
Jayden Daniels did not make my top 10.
Oh my God. I completely missed that.
Oh my God.
How did he not make your top 10, right?
Did you say Jayden Daniels?
Yeah. Number 7.
Oh, that's right. Well, I'll give you an example. CJ Stroud. Where did he finish last year? 17th. Bum ass sophomore slump. Plus, I do have durability. There's 0% chance he runs for 148 carries this year. 0%.
Okay, so my 11 and 12, I'll put Brock Purdy because he secretly a little bit of a rushing quarterback. I don't think they're going to be as bad as they were last year.
He's got to prove something now too. People are questioning that fucking contract.
Yeah, he's kind of a sneaky rushing guy. He's cashed some. A lot of these guys are just, and he hit 5 rushing touchdowns. He's a good like 5-1 anytime touchdown guy in the right game. I think I may have been near a 2 touchdown bet for him. I always forget like which one I'm on or which one I should have been on. And then I'll toss Justin Herbert a bone at number 12, even though I've spent most of my day arguing with Chargers fans about Justin Herbert.
How many times do you think Lamar Jackson has had more than 148 carries?
3.
2 times his first 2 years in the league.
Okay.
And from year 1 to year 2, he dipped down almost 20 carries. So I fully expect him to run less.
Who?
Jayden Daniels.
Jayden Daniels. Okay.
I'm back to the K. Well, I was comparing him to Lamar.
Okay.
Reason number 2. If you go back and watch his tape from last year, people are going to take this the wrong way. There was not a player who had more air yards to bullshit catches.
Well, just look at that.
Now, some of that is because of his scrambling. I get that, but bullshit yards. I mean, he might have 500 yards of bullshit. Anyway, that I don't want to wish injury on anyone, but
so I'll make
that guy's not getting.
You know what? And after further review of some of these Chargers fans, I'm going with Caleb Williams. You made a good case for Caleb Williams at number 8, Ryan. He's my number 12. And yeah, just echoing what you said there, there's potential for
his ceiling is super high.
Yeah. I want to, and this is for underdog best ball drafting. I want to have some shares of Caleb Williams and Brock Purdy, 5 rushing touchdowns. That's enough to be interesting.
Well, will you have any share? The other reason I left Jayden Daniels out of my top 10.
Yeah.
Was to prove a point. Cause I'm not going to draft him.
You're not going to own any.
He's going so early.
Yeah.
He's going number 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is tough. It's tough to get there. I was
4. You want to draft him 4th after the big 3.
I was on the Steffi Smalls show, Ryan, and we're talking. She brought me on.
She's a young person. She probably likes Jayden Daniels.
Well, she was with us in the.
Don't be a bitch.
The idea that everything broke right for the Commanders. I mean,
they beat the Giants twice. That shit doesn't happen ever.
She did point out you guys were 0-6 in the division. That's not happening again.
That's true. Great point.
I mean, the Hail Mary win kind of epitomizes everything for their season, right? Just this fluke play, shouldn't have won that game. Everything broke right for the Commanders. You had
all their old ass peak guys were doing well.
Now, both can be true. Jayden Daniels is very good. It sucks as an Eagles fan that I'm gonna have to deal with him for however many years in the division, but his frame is also still small. Like I go back to that time they were playing that primetime game against the Eagles. He was dealing with that rib injury. I don't know how sustainable that running stuff is long-term for him, and will certainly could impact his fantasy. So Ryan, my official top 10, Jalen Hurts, number 1, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Bo Nix, Baker Mayfield, Jayden Daniels, Justin Fields, Patrick Mahomes, Drake May, close but no cigar, Brock Purdy, Caleb Williams. Kramer?
Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts. Unarguable. That's tier 1. Tier 2, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Baker Mayfield. And then the dreamboat tier. Kyler Murray, Caleb Williams, Bo Nix, and Trevor Lawrence with a little Justin Fields and Brock Purdy on the backside.
Attorney to the EBEs in the chat saying he's demanding a top 5 backup quarterback episode.
Are we just in terms of raw ability?
I would assume no one wants a top 5 backup quarterback fantasy episode.
Oh, I meant more like likelihood of getting in.
Well,
like if you're including
that, just how do you rank backup quarterbacks?
Are you live to win the game when you come in?
Okay. I'm a guy who believes winning the game is important. I've realized from my discussions online that winning games, Super Bowls isn't important, but yes, that's how I would rank it. How high of a chance do you have to get the win? And, or we should just say 5 backup quarterbacks that can still get you the cover.
Jacoby Brissett on the Commanders.
Yeah. I mean, you want to talk about Tyrod Taylor. Although he's fallen off a little bit,
but 1 game stretch, like he's going to sling the rock. You're getting a chance to win that game. What about Andy Dalton?
I think that ship sailed.
Really?
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins?
No, he's not a guy that can come off of the bench.
This is going to sound crazy, but I'll put Tyson Bagent in my top 5.
Yeah. Tyson Bagent is a gamer. I like that. What about the Mormon Missile? Tanner McKee looked very sharp.
No, we're not doing the homer thing here.
What do you mean?
That he's not on my list.
Okay.
Just letting you know. Can I put Jalen Milroe on my list? Does he count as a backup? That's a spicy backup.
It's tough because rookie backups. Now he would be interesting because of Ryan, because of we haven't seen him and how he would play.
What about Gardner Minshew on Kansas City?
No, I would say Malik Willis. Malik Willis came in for Jordan Love and looked really competent. He looked the best he's looked in the NFL. And maybe it's Matt LaFleur thing, and maybe Jordan Love isn't that good.
And I'm sorry, I don't know why I said Commanders earlier. Jacoby Brissett was on the mind because he's backing up Kyler. So,
oh yeah, that's right.
He's definitely on the list. Malik Willis, I agree, he's on the list.
Yeah.
Is Mariota on the list? He's the Commander backup.
Yeah, could be. I don't know if he's top 5.
Jimmy G.
Daniel
Jones.
No, Anthony Richardson.
Oh, you know who else we'll put on this list? Bengals. Who is the backup quarterback in Cincinnati? You can do this. Jake Browning. You've had great nuggets about him.
He did very well in fantasy. He was a fun and they were still competitive. I'll throw you a long shot, Ryan.
I'm listening.
Might not even be the backup. Sam Howell for the Vikings.
Yeah. Although I think
he's a guy who could come in relief.
I think we like him because he makes the game electric.
Yeah.
Because he's got a little Jameis in him.
Yeah. Well, who's the backup quarterback at New York? We don't even know.
Jackson. Well, what do you mean? It's been reported. I'm sure your lasers are focused. Jackson Dart passes Jameis Winston, backup quarterback in New York right
Really?
now. Yep.
So they are going to start Jackson Dart.
No, well, right now.
But you don't announce that move now if you don't have intentions.
Well, no, the public. It's weird. The national media is actually getting reports of like Jackson Dart's doing awesome. The local media is pointing out he looks like a rookie, but it's fun. They're also pointing out that the Giants haven't had quarterback play like this in the spring in some time, and so I think Russ is actually having a very good spring. I don't think Russ is doing anything to lose the job. So
dangerous.
I think you're looking at a at minimum 6-game stint.
I just cannot wait till preseason football comes for Ryan to embrace the enthusiasm.
What do you mean?
Of Jackson Dart.
I'm already here. What are you talking about?
I haven't heard you been that positive about Jackson Dart.
What do you? Are you out of your fucking mind?
Audience, have I been wrong? Has Ryan been excited about Jackson Dart?
I've been.
Where's your jersey
from draft? Well, he hasn't played a fucking game yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I feel like you've been a little tepid on Jackson Dart.
I am excited. What are you talking about? Were you not watching on the draft night? Have you not been paying attention to me talking about the Jackson Dart experience? They were a quarterback away.
Yeah.
They have Russ now who's going to light it up, hand the baton to Jackson Dart. This is a very simple formula. I don't think he's going to start for a little while though.
Yeah. Ryan, one more time, flash that tattoo. We got to give more props to Keaton, the fantasy football loser, but some would argue winner because he got a sick ass tattoo
and a handshake from me and $100.
Yeah. Come on out to the circuit to claim your win. Look at that thing. That is awesome. Extreme T-Gen.
The eagle is awfully short and small.
Yeah, but it conquered the Giants.
It just made we don't know what happened. He could have just showed up.
That is just
also, why is the eagle wearing like torn off jeans?
It's an homage to Gardner Minshew, I assume.
What else is he about to do to this giant laying on the ground?
He's unconscious.
He looks like he's in a 80s metal band.
Yeah, this is awesome. I might have to get this tattoo. A big shout out to them and shout out to Daniel for putting together the league. We will run it back. If you're interested, hit us up. We will be up in the prize. Certainly. We got to reward these guys for putting their body on the line. And thank you everyone for tuning in. We're going to be doing the rest of our top 10 quarterback list coming up over the next few days, and then getting back to our college football conference previews with Colby. Oh man, the audience is in store for some great episodes because they're already in the can, Ryan. They're already taped. We're just waiting to release them. And then also, if you're not a Patreon, what are you waiting for? You get access to all the sheets for our future stuff, and you get the weekly pick'em contest that we're still running through the summer, $100 per week for the winner, and you get the bonus episodes. We will be releasing Colby versus the Rose Bowl. That was a very fun bonus episode. So a lot of reasons to head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. And last but not least, we are running a fun NASCAR Cup contest. Sportsgamblingpodcast.com/NASCAR contest to get in hundreds of dollars in free gear up for grabs. Kramer?
Just a friendly reminder, set your calendar. July 20th, team preview start.
Attendance
will be
participating
mandatory.
in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
For Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean. Stacking the money green. He's Ryan.
Sorry, Jayden Daniels.
Kramer. Let it ride.
I'm wet. I want better fucking execution.